Jeremy, welcome to the program.
Hey, Benny, thanks for having me on.
It's been a life's goal and mission of mine to get you on this program to answer some questions, because we've had some real characters on this show who I'm not sure know as much as you, or at least spent your life trying to understand the phenomena that we can witness, see, sense, and feel. And they've popped off and they've said some crazy things. Like Matt Gaetz told us that there are alien breeding programs, and that went pretty crazy. JD Vance told us that all the aliens are demons. And President Trump and Barack Obama have both sort of popped off on aliens, and then they did sort of a document dump just a couple of days ago. And so given all that, could you please landscape for us what is happening right now when it comes to the intersection of the federal government and disclosures of UAPs?
Right. I mean, so if people have been paying attention, it's a historic time. There's been a fight for a long time to get people to be able to testify under oath and whistleblowers to say what they've seen, what they know. It is clear now with this document dump. It was clear before, but now to the average American, it is clear that there has been a cover-up, that there are machines that fly with impunity in our restricted airspace, outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform anything that we have. And this has been going on a long time. And for 75, 80 years, the government's saying nothing to see here, move on. All of a sudden, we see all these documents that are contradictory to that. Now, people that have been paying attention, they'll know the work that George Knapp and I have done. We've brought forward military filmed footage of what they designate as UAP, doing extraordinary maneuvers, things that nothing in our arsenal can do. They've excluded China, excluded Russia, excluded our own government. I'm not sure what that leaves remaining. So the UFO phenomenon is a real physical hardware issue. But, if you listen to people that testified in Congress, like David Grush, there were biologics, bodies recovered of beings that were operating or piloting some of these craft. And so this has been going on a long time. Anybody that tells you they know the full answer, BS, right? This is such a mosaic. It's a complex issue, but there are some facts, and we're starting to get some of this information coming out. Standing from where I am, it's, low hanging fruit. What George Knapp and I have been exposed to, that's what we've been trying to report on. That's what we've been trying to bring out to the public. And we've successfully done so through our journalism. Last I checked, this is America. We have freedom of speech, freedom of press. That is a protected right here in America. And, I'm really glad to see the government now doing its work. I do think this is a historic time, and I do think it's an opportunity. Nothing is given in this fight, never has been. Every millimeter has been fought for. It's been provoked. And so, Sleeping Dog coming out at this exact moment is pretty astounding. Our premiere was on the day of this historic disclosure by the United States government. It was pretty cool.
So here it is, Sleeping Dog. Perhaps this is a great segue to just chat about this. It does seem like everything is happening on a perfect timeline. I'm sure it's predictive programming. Like I'm just convinced now. And then, the moment Obama says that aliens are real, but they're not at Area 51, then the brand new trailer for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day drops the next day. Got it, guys. Your timing is impeccable. But here it is. Jeremy. This is your time to tell us you're a Fed. Your timing's incredible.
Coincidental, it's
Sleeping Dog. I'm sorry, Sleeping Dog. I do want to promote this.
Yeah, sure.
What is this documentary movie about?
Yeah, man, this documentary was not supposed to happen. It's super personal. It lets people into my life, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, but everybody kind of convinced me, you have to show people your process as a journalist with George, what it is that you've been doing, how you've gotten there. So the movie itself, to me, is really about journalism, First Amendment, freedom of speech, the suppression of the voices, the manipulation by intelligence agencies, or the attempted manipulation on journalists, the threats that have come to whistleblowers, and including myself and George. So we wanted to put it all on the table, all the cards on the table, and just say, look, this is what we do. This is why we do it. This is an issue of great importance. It's the biggest story in human history. If our government really laid out for our people what it is that's been going on. There's nothing to fear with it. It's part of nature. It's part of the natural world. So this documentary is to provoke. I mean, you see in this documentary 8 glimpses when I show some of the process of how George and I keep whistleblowers and data protected. You see me digging out in the desert. And, essentially what you get from this is 8 clips of things the government did not release yet, has not released. Now, just from a political standpoint, there are 46 videos that Rep. Luna and all of Congress wrote this letter to Pete Hegseth and said, look, we want these specific videos. George Knapp and I did provide those file names and file links, to Congress, but we also provided them a whole lot more. So now there's kind of this call and response opportunity right now, because if they give those, 45 videos, because actually George and I in our reporting released one of them called Instantaneous Acceleration. So if you look at the list, number 2 is already out. So it kind of gives you a hint, right? This is going to provoke. It is time to put these videos out to the American public, and Congress is dedicated to it. But the movie's not just about videos. It really shows that the fight for transparency, freedom of speech, which really means freedom of thought. Because if we don't have the data, we don't have the information, and we can't talk about it, then we're not going to understand this fabric of reality that we're living in.
I liken it because we have a lot of people of faith on this channel, and I'm one of them. And then I liken it to, I'm not scared of what I find at the bottom of the sea. Every time James Cameron sends down a damn submarine down there, a submersible, we find a brand new creature. We don't find hundreds sometimes of brand new fish and things that we didn't know existed. And they literally are living on this plane, in this water, on this earth with us. I swim in the ocean, you swim in the ocean, and they're in the ocean too, right? And we find them and they're brand new. And we've been here thousands of years and they've been here thousands of years. And that is, that's not scary to me. It's very interesting. In fact, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And it's not countervailing to my belief system, right? It, in no way does it threaten my belief system. And so that's something that I love your point there. I love your calming point that like this is just the natural order of things. If you wouldn't mind for us, could you please frame up at least? Could you bring into focus a bit? Like what are we going to see in these 46 videos that everyone keeps banging on about?
Right. So the 46 videos is just something that we know that the public can see, and it would change the conversation. Imagine this secrecy that's been going on. Like, why the secrecy? Back 10 years ago, people didn't, it was a matter of belief. UFOs are not a matter of belief. It's either true or not true, happens to be true. What they are, where they're from, what the intent is, why so much kind of surveillance and interaction with human beings throughout history, we don't really know. So these videos, they're kind of a starting point in this way. The secrecy was created because of weaponization. Because when our government found stuff that we didn't understand, and they're like, whoa, hold up, can this be weaponized? It became this secret race to try to figure out exploitive technologies, derivative technologies through exploitation of these craft. And again, it's not just me saying it. We had the head of the DIA's UFO program on our show, George Knapp and I did, called Weaponized, and he admitted that we had an NHI, non-human intelligence craft, that they've been exploiting and they breached the hull of. I mean, look, the jig is up. The truth is out there now. But what people will see is data, and that's been the problem with secrecy. I understand old school, Cold War, keeping this secret till we figure it out. But because people now understand that this is going on to some degree, that kind of excuse is out of the way. So the scientific community has not been able to look at this information to really help out. You've had a certain very select number of minds on this. When these videos are released, they're going to engage the really smart people around the world. The internet is going to win again. They'll be able to help define and look at these technologies. So that is kind of my hope, is that that's the beginning process. But ultimately, okay, videos of craft, if we get really clear video of one of these craft, great. But our government has been exploiting this technology. They have documents, apparently autopsies, bodies. So now we're going from, okay, UFOs are real, to like, how much can and how much will they show? Are they even getting the data after the presidential order from the CIA and all these intelligence agencies that show the best data? I'm not sure. But ultimately, If we are given this, full disclosure in some way, it just shows that we're part of a larger ecosystem that we were unaware of, and that is extremely exciting. We don't know what it means to be a human being if we don't know what we're part of. And so for me, it's not scary at all. Whatever the truth may be, wherever the truth lands, I think it's really important as being a human just to understand our place in the universe.
So you believe that the tranche of files that was put out by the federal government at war.gov.ufo, you believe that that's just the first round, that's just not even an appetizer course for what's really out there?
I got a call right after directly from within the White House, and then also from congressional members telling me. That's why I kind of broke the story on X, because I was like, okay, it's coming tomorrow and there's going to be more. So they're saying things like, in a few weeks, there'll be another dump of information. I believe that to be true. President Trump ordered it. Obviously, this declassification process works. People aren't freaking out. They aren't panicking. And I believe if they continue on this path, they should be putting out more and better data. But again, journalism will do the job if they don't. And we are going to provoke as much as we can truth to the American public.
In your lifetime of research, this phenomena, do you have any instincts of what is actually happening here? You seem to have been like sort of bolted down on, where your gut says as to what this is, which is an advanced species that has machine craft. You call them machines, machine crafts that are sometimes flown and sometimes crashed here into our orbit and our Earth. Is that correct, or am I way off there?
Look, they could be crashed, or they're as odd and strange as it sounds. It's been reported by people within intelligence agencies under oath that there's been some sort of technological agreements. I have no idea. As a journalist, right? I try to go for the things that I can prove. I find the documents, I find the videos, and if they're of public interest, George and I put them out. The big questions, how many species are there? Where are they from? Have they just been here a long time hiding from humanity? I doubt that. I mean, these machines are so advanced. Our government, when we've been trying to reverse engineer them, have made very little progress over the last 75 years. So if you're asking me the big question, anybody that tells you they know, they don't. They're guessing. I can't really guess here. I just know that, look, why would you make a Ferrari if you're not going to drive fast? When they've pulled these craft apart, they clearly have a propulsion system that is non-reactionary. So like rockets to roller skates, you push something out the back and it goes forward. These craft have utilized a different aspect of physics in order to propel. So why would you make something that is possible of traveling amongst the stars if you're not going to do it? So that gives me some insight into my understanding of maybe what we're dealing with.
What about, and I never regret asking this question, what have you seen? Can you please color what have you seen that has sort of made you stand with your jaw agape?
There have been some shocking moments in my investigations. I think that if what I have seen is put out to the American public, I believe it will be initially shocking. I do think that it is so hard to trust right now. It is so hard to trust your own eyes and what you hear from people. I think there needs to be a large amount of evidence that is put forward to the American people in order for it to really sink in. I've been exposed to a lot, Benny, when it comes over the years of my work, and some of it you can't trust, but I have really good sources, and so does George. We've verified a lot of it you can trust. So I guess the short answer to your question, if you're asking, what have I seen? I've seen absolute convincing evidence that we are being visited, or that there are others that are here. And the intent, where they're from, I don't know those answers, but I know that some people do. And I know that within our government are some of those answers. And the American people don't have just like a right to know. I think at this point we have a need to know.
They're here, meaning that they didn't just accidentally crash land and this wasn't some gas station stop, that they're here on purpose and they're living amongst us, Jeremy?
I don't know. That is something that people claim. Let me give you an example. In 2004, the Tic Tac UFO event became very, very famous. A good friend of mine, Commander David Fravor, he chased a UFO for the United States military. Now, these things were above 80,000 feet. So, that means essentially space. And they were dropping down to sea level like that, less than a second, no sonic boom, instantaneously. But they weren't just dropping down. The words given to me were docking with, somehow docking with something under the water. Within intelligence agencies, this is a known secret. So they're doing something. That was some sort of operation. So whatever is going on with these non-human intelligence, with these craft of unknown origin, there is a purpose. But what that purpose is, I just don't know.
Fascinating. Utterly fascinating. I'm excited. I'm excited over it, and I do think that this is something that we do have maybe a historic opportunity to reveal what the government has been doing. Some people have made some crazy claims on our show, like there's alien breeding programs. Have you ever seen anything like that?
So, I've never been briefed into that. There's a lot out there in the lore of UFOs and what's been going on. It's been so stigmatized for so long. I'm really going after the nuts and bolts and trying to build upon that. Every option is open until we have the core understanding. That's what I mean by freedom of thought. Like, if we don't have the information, we can't have debate. We can't have speech. We can't have the scientific community looking at all of this. And look, this is why, like, really Sleeping Dog comes at the most perfect time. Journalism at its best doesn't just report on power, it moves power. So if you watch Sleeping Dog closely, it's going to provoke more releases. That was the purpose of why we put it out. If we keep the pressure on, more records will come out. And again, I am sure if they show the good stuff, some of it will be shocking.
Final question to you, Jeremy, and everybody needs to go and watch Sleeping Dog. It is out today, in fact. And it's, again, an honor to have you join us. What would be your word of advice to perhaps somebody at the CIA or the president himself when it comes to the decision to release or not release this? Because, of course, that's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
What's happening right now is they're saying we can't have our government overthrown. People can't know this. If they know this, then they'll know we're not in charge and we're helpless to stop them. And then the illusion of security will go away. And so we can't do that, right? It has to be that we can destroy China at any time. We can destroy Iran at any time. We're the world's warlords. But if we show them this technology or these other beings that can do this and we can't do it, it means we're subservient to them. Therefore, we lose our power. And that's, of course, how power structures are built institutionally and always have been. And so what happens next? What's your word of advice to somebody making that decision right now?
Yeah, my simple word of advice, it's very logical, which is that people are ready to understand this truth. I understand the secrecy. I understand why this was held secret for so long. We are past that. If America's not first, if we don't do this first, somebody else is going to do it. Another nation is going to do it. We're on a good trajectory. I'm really excited that President Trump has made this order, but we have to force the intelligence agencies who are just naturally been guarding this for so long to do what has been mandated. People are not going to freak out. People are just going to bond and unite more over this. Whatever the truth ends up being, it is time to tell the American public, nobody has the right to keep nature and the natural reality away from humanity and the American public. So the word of advice is transparency is working. No one freaked out. Keep going. Let it all out. It is time.
I mean, I can almost understand it, frankly. Like, I really can. And I please don't unsubscribe to the channel, but like, if you're the Aztecs, what would you do to stop Columbus from landing? Right? Because you're over, it's over for you, right? The moment that it's like, here's the guns and here's the metal armor and you're finished, right? And here's the smallpox, you're done, bro. And so it's what would you do to stop Columbus? And this is like a Columbus moment almost, right? Am I wrong? Is it the correct framing perhaps or no?
I don't know, because it's like nothing bad has happened. Like, this is not something new. This didn't happen yesterday. This has been going on throughout our history. It's been documented all the way since the beginning of recorded human history. We just have better cameras and sensor systems, and we have more discovery and a technological revolution that's occurred 100 years ago. So this is not something new. So, if others were going to harm us, we would have already been harmed. There's nothing to fear here. Truth, when you have truth, you can deal with it. That's what we should be doing right now, dealing with this.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, it's just an exciting time. It's just an exciting time. I hope that President Trump takes all these 46 videos to Xi Jinping, like today, and tells them all about it. Like I'm excited about it. I'm thrilled about it. I love your work, and I think that everybody needs to go watch Sleeping Dog right now. You can find it on YouTube. You'll have the URL in the link in the description. Here's obviously the promotional poster of it. Jeremy spent his entire life searching for truth. And for that, we deeply respect him. Jeremy also, you can follow. Here is his X account right here. Obviously, he's just without a doubt the world's expert on this. And I have a sinking suspicion that we haven't seen the end of the UAP UFO question right now. And Jeremy's going to be the man to answer a lot of questions. Please follow him. Godspeed, Jeremy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.